My name is Rachel, and this is the story of a secret that changed everything I thought I knew about myself and my relationship. When I first met Ethan, I was drawn to his charm and stability. After years of tumultuous relationships, he felt like a safe haven. His deep brown eyes and kind smile held promises of security and love. His family welcomed me with open arms, and for the first time, I felt part of something bigger than myself. Ethan had a niece, Sofia, who was 22 and full of life. She was a vibrant, magnetic presence at every family gathering, with a laugh that could light up a room and a wit that kept everyone on their toes. Her honey-toned skin and striking green eyes framed by long, dark hair made her undeniably captivating. She had a confidence I envied and a way of making you feel like the most important person in the world when she looked at you. At first, our relationship was casual, friendly, but nothing more. One weekend, Ethan invited Sofia to stay with us for a few days while she attended a workshop in the city. Ethan had a work trip that same weekend, leaving just Sofia and me in the house. I didn't think much of it at first. We spent the first evening chatting over wine, sharing stories about our lives. The living room was cozy, lit by the warm glow of a table lamp. For the first time, I saw a side of Sofia that went beyond her confident exterior, a vulnerable, thoughtful young woman navigating her own path. She told me about her struggles with independence, her dreams, and her fears. It was disarming how open she was with me. That night, as we sat in the dim light, something shifted. She looked at me in a way that made my breath catch. It was fleeting, but undeniable. I told myself it was nothing, a trick of the light, a fleeting moment of misinterpretation. The next morning, as I made coffee, Sofia appeared in the kitchen wearing one of my oversized shirts. Her hair was tousled, her face fresh and glowing, her presence exuding an effortless allure. She smiled at me, a soft, lingering smile that seemed to carry a weight of unspoken words. "Do you always look this radiant in the morning?" I teased, trying to lighten the mood. "Only when I'm with good company," she replied, her eyes locking with mine. The tension between us grew over the next 2 days. There were stolen glances, casual touches that lingered just a second too long. By the second night, the air between us was thick with unspoken desire. It was during a late-night conversation that things finally came to a head. We were sitting on the couch, the room illuminated by the soft glow of the fireplace. Sofia had been telling me about her struggles with finding her place in the world, and before I knew it, I was confessing my own fears and insecurities. "You're amazing, Rachel," Sofia said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you even realize how special you are?" I looked at her, and in that moment, I knew I was standing on the edge of something dangerous. Her green eyes held mine, searching, almost daring me. "Sofia," I began, but she cut me off, leaning in and pressing her lips to mine. The kiss was soft, hesitant, and completely electrifying. For a moment, I was frozen, torn between every reason why this was wrong and the undeniable truth of how right it felt. When I finally pulled back, her eyes searched mine, wide and filled with emotion. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have done that. But I couldn't stop myself." "No," I said, my voice trembling. "Don't be sorry." The days that followed were a blur of stolen moments and whispered secrets. Every touch, every kiss, felt like a rebellion against the world. We spent hours talking, sharing pieces of ourselves that we had never shown anyone else. One afternoon, while Ethan was still away, Sofia and I drove out to a secluded spot by the lake. The water sparkled under the sun, the air filled with the scent of pine and blooming wildflowers. We walked along the shore, the warmth of the sun on our skin, and eventually settled on a blanket under a tree. "This feels like a dream," Sofia said, lying on her side and looking at me. Her voice was soft, almost wistful. "Like none of this is real." I reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "It feels real to me." That afternoon, under the canopy of trees, we gave in to everything we had been holding back. It was passionate, tender, and completely consuming. For a few hours, the rest of the world ceased to exist. But reality has a way of intruding. The moment Ethan came home, the weight of what I had done hit me like a freight train. I couldn't look him in the eye, couldn't bear the thought of the trust one was betraying. Sofia, too, seemed to feel the strain. She became more reserved, her laughter less frequent. One evening, as we sat alone in the kitchen, she said, "Rachel, what are we doing? This isn't fair to him." I knew she was right, but I couldn't bring myself to let her go. "I don't know," I admitted. "I just know I don't want to lose you." It was Ethan who eventually confronted me. He had noticed the way Sofia and I looked at each other, the way we seemed to gravitate toward one another. "Is there something going on between you two?" he asked one evening, his voice steady but filled with pain. I opened my mouth to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I nodded, tears streaming down my face. The fallout was devastating. Ethan packed a bag and left that night, leaving me alone with the wreckage of what I had done. Sofia tried to comfort me, but I pushed her away, consumed by guilt and self-loathing. It's been 6 months since everything fell apart. Ethan and I are no longer together, and Sofia and I have gone our separate ways. I've spent countless hours in therapy, trying to understand what led me to make the choices I did. There are days when I feel like I'll never forgive myself, but there are also moments of clarity, moments when I can see the lessons hidden in the pain. I've learned to be honest with myself, to confront my feelings instead of running from them. Life is complicated, messy, and full of unexpected turns. This chapter of my life is one I'll always carry with me, a reminder of the power of connection and the importance of integrity. But most of all, it's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there's a path forward.